Hi, my name is Mr. Chon. You're welcome to my study room. If today is your first time, then I want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel for more videos. Today's study is on the midpoint of a line or the midpoint of a straight line. This lesson has become very necessary to me because just about a week ago, I gave my second year admin students some project work to do, and it was time for presentation. And when you got to this particular group, they were able to state the formula for the midpoint of a straight line, all right. But as I always do in my class, you can't just state the formula without explaining how you got it. And it took the class a very long time to do that, which they couldn't do eventually. They were able to quote the formula and fix the coordinates into it, but they couldn't explain with a line how they were able to get the formula for the midpoint. So I realized that there will be a number of students all over who also can quote the midpoint formula but cannot explain. So the aim of today's lesson is just to prove the midpoint formula using a straight line. Thank you. Assuming we have 2 points with coordinates, the first point A having coordinates x1, y1, and another point B having coordinates x2, y2. Then the midpoint of the line joining A and B, which we might want to call M, will have the coordinates x1 plus x2 all over 2, and the y coordinate will be y1 plus y2 all over 2. All right, this is it. So for example, if we have the ends of a line to be A, -2, 4, and B, 6, -12. Then the midpoint of the line joining these 2 points, meaning that any point, a point that is exactly in the middle of these 2 points, will have the coordinates m equals, and I always encourage you to write the x1, y1, x2, y2 at the top to avoid any confusion. So the midpoint, the coordinate of the midpoint is going to be our x1 is -2 plus x2 is 6 all over 2, and our y coordinate is going to be y1, which is 4, plus y2, which is -12 all over 2. Then this is going to give us -2 plus 6 is 4 divided by 2. Then 4 plus -12 is the same as 4 minus 12, which will give us -8 divided by 2. And when we simplify further, we are going to have 2 and -4. It means that if we should plot these 2 points on the Cartesian plane and we locate another point exactly in the middle of the line joining these 2 points. These are going to be the coordinates of that point, which we decide to call M. All right. But like I said at the beginning of the lesson, my students were able to put this quickly and fix numbers into it. But then I insisted that they explain how I can get this from a line, how it makes sense when you have a line. And they couldn't do that. So the aim of this lesson is to quickly do that. And let's go straight to how we will explain that. Assuming I have my Cartesian plane here this way. Good. And then I decide to plot my points on it this way. So let's say my first point is 1, 2, and then my second point is let's say 7, 4. All right. Let me join it with a ruler. Yeah. Then I have my line AB. Then now if I'm looking for the midpoint of this line, it's just a matter of, let me write my A and the B. It's just a matter of counting along the x-axis and then counting along the y-axis, which will give us, from here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters, which is the same as from 0 to 7 centimeters minus from 0 to 1, which is 6. So the middle of the 6 here will be 3, which will be here, these 3. Remember, I said 3, but I've circled 4 because the thing is not starting from 0, it's starting from 1. So 1 plus 3 will give us 4. That is why I said 3, but I circled 4. And again, to even explain that, the x coordinate for the B is 7, but then from 1 to 7 is 6. That is why I counted. And I'm doing all of this because I'm going to explain using the formula. Then the same way, when we get to the y-axis, we are going to have from 2 to 4 is 2, which is the same as 0 to 4 minus 0 to 2, which will give us 2 units, which is the same, which is from 2 to 4. And the middle of these 2 units is 3, or 1 unit, 1 centimeter. By calculation, it is 3, which is the same as from 0 to 4 minus 0 to 2. Then that's 2 centimeters divided by 2 is 1 plus the 2 here. That's what gives us the 3. So the midpoint of this line with coordinates 1, 2, and then 7, 4 is 4, 3. And we can prove that with the formula again by having our A12 and then our B74, which we said M is 1 plus 7 all divided by 2. Then the y coordinate is 2 plus 4 all divided by 2, which when we work it further, we are going to have a divided by 2 to be 4, and then 6 divided by 2 to be 3. So these are the coordinates of the midpoint, which we have here. The x component is 4 and the y component is 3. So this is what it would have been if we were working on a graph. We just count how many centimeters or whatever unit we are using from A to B along the x-axis. Then we find the middle one, and then also along the y-axis, then we find the middle one, and that becomes the midpoint. But here lies the case where we are just giving the end points of the line, the coordinate of the x and the end point of the line. Let's say like we have it here, we're just giving 1, 2, and then B also 7, 4, and then that is all. And we have to find the midpoint. And that is where the formula is. But as math students, it is not enough for you to just know the formula without understanding how it is obtained. So let's go back to our calculation. So that assuming we have an imaginary Cartesian plane, let me use ruler to draw my Cartesian plane so that to look a bit nicer than usual. So assuming we have this. Yeah, so assuming we have this as my Cartesian plane, this is my x-axis, and this is my y-axis. And I decide to have 2 points on it. Let me put the first point here, A, with coordinates x1, y1. Then I have B here, with coordinates x2, x2, y2. All right. Let me join it with a ruler again. Okay, so this is my line AB, and I decide to find a middle point. I decide to find a middle point here. And let's call it M. With coordinate, let me call it A, B as the coordinate. What this means is that we have x1 here, we have A here. Let me move this my line towards this direction a little. Good. Then we have our x2 here. Remember, these are the x coordinates of the various points. Then we have their respective y coordinate here. Here will be y1, here will be B, and then here will be y2. All right, then doing the same thing we did with the numbers, I'm going to work out to get a formula. This is what we are saying. We are saying that if this point M is in the middle of this line AB, then practically, assuming we are using ruler or anything, the length x1 to A will be the same as the length A to x2. And then also, along the y-axis, the length y1 to B will be the same as the length B to y2 along the y-axis. If we are saying the point M is in the middle, then that is what it's going to be. And by using calculation, I'm going to do that of the x-axis, then I do that of the y-axis. And by doing calculation with what I explained using this diagram here, that the movement 1 is actually from 0 to 1, and the movement 7 is 0 to 7, and not 1 to 7 that gave us the 7, but 0 to 7. So we are going to use the same thing for this calculation here now. So the distance x1 to A1 is the same as A minus x1. And we are saying that the distance is the same as from here, A to x2, which is the same as x2 minus A. And this one in the class, the way it took me some time for my student to get it, I would like to take some time here to explain that again. That how we got this is, if you are saying this length here is the same as this length here, this length here is from 0 to A. The A here is here. Assuming we have 5 here, here will be 5 because that length is from 0 to 5. And here is from 0 to x1, assuming it is 1 or something. So if you want to find the length only between the two of them, we must subtract this length 0 to x1 from 0 to A, and what will be left will be the length here. The same way, if we are looking for here the length between the two of them, we must subtract 0 to A, which is A, we have it here, from 0 to x2. But here we are not writing the 0 to, because if we're to be numbers and we have 5 here, let's say 5, we are just going to write a 5. We will not write 0 to 5. That's why the same thing we have x2 here. I think that has done it for the explanation for me. Then we simplify by making A the subject, because we want to know what the A, which is the x coordinate of our M, is going to be. So by grouping like terms or regrouping, we are going to have A plus A being equal to x2 plus x1, because this one has moved here, become positive, this one moved here, become positive. And A plus A is 2A being equal to x1 plus x2, just because I want to write x1 first, and addition is commutative as well. So when we divide both sides by 2, our A is going to be x1 plus x2 all over 2. Then we do the same thing along the y-axis. So here we are going to say that if the length here, if B here is exactly in the middle of y1 and y2, then it means that the length from y1 to B is the same as the length from B to y2. And the length from y1 to B can be calculated by subtracting y1 from b, which is b minus y1, and that must be equal to subtracting b from y2, which is y2 minus b. If this is exactly in the middle, then the two lengths must be the same, and we want to make b the subject. So b plus b will give us y2 plus y1, and 2b will be equal to y2 plus y. Or let me just arrange it for y1 to come first, like the way I did for the first one. So 2b will be equal to y1 plus y2, and we divide both sides by 2. That means our b will be equal to y1 plus y2 all over 2. All right. So if our point M has the coordinates A, B, then we just have to substitute this in. That will give us our A is x1 plus x2 all over 2. Then our B is y1 plus y2 all over 2. And this is how we got the midpoint formula. So the next time, especially those doing advanced and want to pursue mathematics at a higher level, the next time you are asked to quote the midpoint formula, it is not enough for you to just state the formula, but then you should understand how it is got. And I told my student that whatever you say in words or formula, when you put it on a diagram, it should make sense. The explanation should be the same. And that is what we must have. So this is how we prove the midpoint formula. Like I said, using it for calculation itself is not difficult, but how to understand how we got it is not enough. As a math student, it's not enough for you to just get the formula, but then you should be able to explain it to someone. And this is where I bring today's lesson on the proof of the midpoint formula. I hope you've enjoyed it. If yes, why not consider subscribing to this channel for more videos so that you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. Thank you for making time with me, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye.